All right, so right now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making something called gack. And gack is something that can be made using easily located materials in your house. Now, gack is just kind of a made-up word, but what we're actually doing is chemistry. We're actually going to be making something called a polymer. And what's a polymer? Well, here's a polymer. This marker, the plastic in this marker, that's a polymer. The plastic that's in this ruler, that's a polymer. The plastic that's in the handle of the spoon, that's a polymer. Here's one of my favorites. Motorcycle helmet. Helps protect and keep my head safe. That's a polymer. Okay? The question is, why do we need to know about chemistry? When am I ever going to use this? Why is chemistry important? Why do I need to know about polymers? Well, polymers are really interesting things. I had some pre-made polymers made up. Oh, here it is. Here's my pre-made polymer. So I made some gack a little earlier. This is a polymer. This really doesn't act like a slime. This is more like a putty, but I made it kind of extra thick, and that's okay. We'll get to that in a second, but this is a polymer. So this is a fidget toy. You know, you can manipulate it, mold it, but this is a very slow-moving liquid, but it's a polymer. So what do we need to make a polymer? What kind of things do we need to do? So here are your supplies. You're going to need some Elmer's school glue. This is 4 ounces. You are going to need some borax. It has to be borax. You could use laundry detergent, but we're going to use borax. Borax is a laundry detergent. Now, one of the expectations is that you have already done the background information about why this stuff is important and why this chemical reaction is going to take place that we're going to do in a minute. So in order to conduct this experiment, what I've done is I've already kind of pre-measured. You'll need a tablespoon of borax. So I've already poured that into this 18-ounce solo cup. I'm going to need 1 cup of warm water. So 1 cup is equal to 8 ounces. So I'm going to pour that into the borax. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this up until all of the borax crystals are dissolved. And you only need to do one of these. You don't need to make this for the entire class or for your entire group, because you're only going to end up using a few tablespoons of this liquid anyway. So you want to vigorously stir the borax solution. So what we're doing, we're actually dissolving the borax crystals into the water, so we're making a solution. We're going to set this off to the side in a moment. You want to make sure all the borax is dissolved. There's still a little borax left in there, so I got to stir some more. And then when all the crystals have dissolved, I still got a little bit left in there, so stir it a little more. Okay, that's good. We'll set this off to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take 4 ounces of our glue, and I'm using this whole container. This whole container is about 4 ounces, and I'm just going to empty the whole container into this solo cup. And one of the things you may want to do is you may want to pre-measure your materials beforehand. Because in addition to the 4 ounces of glue, I'm also going to need 4 ounces of warm water. And I'm going to combine 4 ounces of warm water with the glue to make another solution. And then you'll see something very interesting start to happen. So you want to empty out your 4 ounces of Elmer's. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting all of it out. Waste not, want not, right? Because this stuff ain't cheap. Okay. Alright, so that's good with the Elmer's. And this is safe glue, so if it gets on your hands, no worries. It's water soluble, which means it dissolves in water. So then what we're going to do is, once we have 4 ounces, I'm going to use my measuring cup, and I want to make sure that I've got 4 ounces of water to add to the glue. Okay, so I've got 4 ounces of water. I'm going to add 4 ounces of the water to the glue. You can just dump that all in there. And then I'm just going to stir this mixture up. You want to make sure that you don't have any residue. You don't want to slosh it around, but you want to make sure that you agitate this enough so you dissolve. You don't have any, there should be no separation, in other words. So the glue and the water should mix to form a nice little mixture. You don't want any clumps. One of the things you can do is you can also use food coloring. I'm not using food coloring. I suppose that actually I have a way that we could use food coloring here. So I'm going to use my marker here just to make things interesting so you can see this better, because I don't have any food coloring. So I'm going to add a little water to this cup, and then I'm going to dip the end of this marker. I don't recommend this, but this will work in a pinch. Or maybe it won't, because the marker's dried out. Well, I guess I can't do that since that's not working. So I guess we won't have any color. Let's see. Let's see, will this work? Nope, that doesn't work either. So I thought I'd be able to extract some color from the water-based marker, but I can't. That's fine. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our mixture is mixed up. And then I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of our borax solution. Okay, you don't need a lot. You don't need to dump the whole glass, so we're just going to dump in a couple of tablespoons. That's 1, 2, 3 to start the reaction, and then we're going to stir, and then something should start to happen. You should see it start to thicken. Look at this. It's like turning into this gooey mess. Ew, it looks like gack. Alright, so we'll add a couple more tablespoons of our borax solution. So I like to do this in threes. It's 1, 2, 3. We always add a little bit of it at a time, not a whole lot. And then as you continue to stir you should see something that looks like this. So it's going from a liquid, and what's this chemical reaction that's taking place? There's something interesting. Continue to stir it for a little while longer. You notice how it sticks to the spoon? You can actually separate that, and that's fine. So then I'm going to add a couple more tablespoons. I'll add 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And then I'll continue to stir. What do you think is going to happen as I add more of the borax solution to the glue water mixture? And then as you continue to stir, it starts to become a lot more viscous. What does the word viscous mean? You got to look it up. You know, that's what my parents used to say. Look it up. And I was like, but I don't know how to spell it. How can I look up something that I don't know how to spell? Wow, this looks like something that fell out of an ox's nose or something. That's why it's called gack. Slime. Chemical reactions. Chemistry. Why do we need to know about chemistry? Well, without chemistry, we wouldn't have medicines. We wouldn't have the modern world as we know it. Oh, that was only 2. I need to add 1 more. That's 3 more tablespoons of solution. Continue to stir. And pretty soon we go from a liquid to a semi-solid. We made GAC. We made a polymer. How does that happen? So one of the things I expect at this point, that you've done the research already to determine why this reaction has taken place. So we've gone from a liquid to a solid, or semi-solid. It's not real solid like the table, that's a solid. But this is a polymer. Why is this happening? Why is this important? Why do you need to know this? If you've ever had pudding, that's a chemical reaction. Candy, the flavor, that's a chemical reaction. So now you've made something that can be manipulated and pulled and stretched. And then, if you want to, have a plastic bag handy. You can take out your GAC. I'll just stick my whole hand in there. There we go. And you made a polymer. Congratulations. And then if you have a plastic sandwich bag, you have a nice little to-go container for your GAC, your polymer, and now that it's in a sealed container, it will assume the shape of its container. And that is how you make GAC. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, drop me an email. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.